Passive income is not passive. Let's take a look at what's going on. Hey, so as I talk to a number of people about passive income, it seems like there's maybe some confusion and mixed opinions about what it is and what it isn't. During our discussions, I'm finding out that people have these opinions and thoughts about it that are different than what I'm talking about, different from each other. So we're all a little bit in confused state as to what really is the definition of a passive income. So the question you ask yourself, do you know what a passive income is? What's your definition? So leave a comment below saying yes, you know what a passive income is, and then tell me what it is. What's your definition? Or if you don't know what a passive income is, leave a comment below with the word no. But now I'm going to go ahead and tell you my thoughts about passive income, and I'm going to start off by giving you a definition. All right, so you can see right here, and I'm going to read it just so we're clear about what I'm trying to state, the information I'm trying to provide, right? So passive income is generated as a result of an initial investment of time or money to create a product or service that can be provided to customers on a routine basis with minimal effort. Okay, so that's a lot of words. Let's go through it piece by piece and I'll explain it, and by the end you'll have an understanding of the information I'm trying to give you about what the definition is of a passive income. All right, so let's start off. So this first part, passive income is generated as a result of an initial investment of time or money. And so for me, why do I do this, right? So I like to have a passive income. And the reason why I did it was because I came up with an idea that will allow me to implement a passive income business model. But in order to put it into action, what do I have to do? Well, I had to invest either some of my own time or some of my own money to make it happen, right? So it's okay and it's a good thing to have an idea, but unless you act upon it, that idea will never come to fruition. And so the way it comes to fruition though is by putting forth some effort, right? So I've got to be proactive about it. I've got to go out and do something, and that's the time that I spend putting this idea into action, right? And if I don't do it by myself, I can use money to hire somebody, right? So what does that kind of look like? Well, it turns out that if it's me, I'm going to have to put in a lot of time and effort. And if I need help, I got to bring in some outside help to help me do that. And the goal here is to build a product or a service, right? So that's this next part, right? To create a product or service. So in this section, what I'm talking about is myself working hard or working with someone else to build a product or service as part of this passive income. And let me give you some quick examples, right? So a product might be an ebook or an online course. It's a digital product, a digital information product. Maybe it's an app for a smartphone. Now if we look at services on the other side of the coin, right? Maybe you're providing a membership site. So this is a site where people would subscribe to your website and they'd get information on a regular basis. Maybe you're doing affiliate marketing or advertising as part of a service, and you're earning an income from that service that you're providing. Now, for each of these, either a product or a service, you have to realize there may or may not be a financial component to it, right? So you may have to invest some of your money. We talked about the time and all the work you have to put into it, but you may need to add some of your own money, your own resources to do that. And you need that in order to buy either raw materials or tools or pay salaries for people that are helping you in order to develop this product or service, right, that you're thinking about. And so once I did that, right, so I had this idea, I invested time and money, and I came up with a product or service, then I made it available, right? So that's this next part that can be provided to customers on a routine basis. So by building my product or my service, I made them available to customers now so that they can take advantage of it, right? So my customer base are people that are interested in my product or service that I have to offer. And if they want it, they can, pay me the money and receive that product or service. Now, the way that I do it is I set up an online website or I sell it online, and that allows my customers to access me, directly, right? So through a website, they're able to access my product or service and get that product or order those services for themselves. Now, this last part with minimal effort, this goes back to the website, right? So if I'm providing this service or this product on a website, that means I don't have to be there answering a phone or checking emails. My website can do that for me, and so I don't have to put a lot of work and time and effort into it as I did initially when I built the product, right? So when I built the product, it took a lot of effort, right? So I'm going to show you an example where I built an online course and I spent hours and hours building that course, but now I'm able to sell it, and every time I make a sale, for me it's mostly hands off, right? The website takes care of it. The website collects the information from the student, collects the money, the payment from the student, and then provides the student with the product or the service. All right, so let's take a look at the example that I created. So for me, I created an online training course. I created this product, then I used my knowledge to do that and build an online training course. So how did I do it? Well, I created the course outline, right? Then I built the curriculum. I needed to know all the training materials that I needed. I had to build the scripts for teaching the course, right? The worksheets, the handouts, all that gets bundled together and provided to the student. I needed to create that, put it together, and then just simply using my smartphone, I just recorded myself teaching the class, and then bundled all that information together and created my information product, and now I made that available to my students. So if you've seen one of my earlier videos, you know that I've got a number of courses that I've put together, these online training courses, and I posted them to Udemy. And so if you look at what I've done here, you'll see that the end result was a training course on Udemy. Now I've actually got several training courses on Udemy, but this is a prime example of one of my courses. And what I liked about it was I did all the work up front. I posted it to Udemy, made it available to students, so now students can sign up for access whenever they want. If a new student wants to enroll Sunday at 3 in the morning, they can do it. But I'm not involved, right? So that's doing all the work up front, using some tools to collect the student information, the payment, that whole student enrollment thing. It's hands off for me at that point. And now the other advantage is students can access the information whenever they want. So it's a self-paced learning where if they want to do an hour a day or an hour a week, or if they want to do them back to back to back and do it from beginning to end, they can do it whenever it's convenient for them and I don't have to be involved. So very passive at that point. And just so you get an idea of how lucrative it has been for me, here's a quick snapshot of my earnings on Udemy. You can see I've learned just a little bit over $10,000 with these online training courses. And so that's been a really good vehicle for me as far as a passive income implementation, right? So I created an online training course. I did a bunch of work up front, and then made it available. And then when I finished it, students paid me over time, and I didn't have to do as much work now, right? So it's more or less collecting the payments, maybe doing some quick updates if things change in the curriculum. But for the most part, all the work was done up front, and then now I can let the course be available to students at their convenience. So we've talked about some online methods of ways to make passive income online. Let me talk about a couple of other ways to make passive income that are not online. But first, let's just recap real quick. So online income ideas, we talked about creating products or services, and you do that by doing some initial work up front, or investing some in it, or using some financial resources to generate those products or services, whether it's through help buying raw materials, things of that nature. And so we came up with these online ideas, right? So there's ebooks, there's training courses, there's apps you could build for smartphones. So those are some of the products, services we discussed, affiliate marketing, or getting a subscription from a membership site, things of that nature. But let's take a look at the other side, right? So there's other ways of earning passive income that are not online, and we're going to call these offline passive income ideas. So the first one I think a lot of people are very familiar with, although they may or may not have done it, but it's through having rental property, right? So if you own a home or a condo or something like that, you can obviously rent it out, either long term or you can do VRBO or Airbnb. And so what does it take to get that put in place? So initially, the time or money that you have to put into it is, well, you got to come up with a down payment, right? You got to come up with some cash, maybe get a loan for the property. And then once you acquire the property, you might have to do some repairs or upgrades. So, it's probably going to be a combination of the two, right? So you're going to use some cash that you've saved up to buy the property. And then you're going to apply some elbow grease, maybe do some repairs, make some upgrades to the property. And then once you get it ready to go, then you can rent it out. And the passive income you're going to receive then is going to be in the form of a monthly rent check. So the people you rent it to are going to be renting the property from you, and they'll pay you every month to live in your property. Next is you can invest cash into other financial instruments. And so what I mean by that, so right now I'm going to show you some stocks, bonds, maybe mutual funds, exchange traded funds. And so you can take your cash and actually invest it in other cash-like instruments, financial instruments. And what that'll do is that'll pay you money back, right? So it's going to come back in the form of either a dividend check. So some of them pay monthly dividends or quarterly dividends. So these are earnings that the financial instrument accrues over time, and then at these intervals, whether it's monthly or quarterly, they pay out a dividend to the owners of record. And so that's one way, right? So if you invest $1,000 in a company's stock and you own, say, 10 shares because it's $100 a share, then at the end of the month or end of every quarter, they may pay you $1 for every share of stock you own. And those are called dividends. So those are payouts based on how that company's doing. And then also, if you look at the longer term scope of that financial instrument, there may be some appreciation of that asset, right? So maybe you bought the company stock, 10 shares, $100 per share, but now over time, let's say a year later, it's now worth $110 per share. So you've just increased the value that you have in that company without really doing anything, right? So that's increased over time. So that's another form of passive income. And then lastly, let me talk about collectibles, right? So you may have expensive jewelry or collector type jewelry, fancy watches, diamonds, things of that nature. Maybe there's rare books that you collect, or there's artwork. There's lots of different items that can go into or be classified as collectibles. And here, what you need to do is typically is just cash, right? So you need to make the initial outlay of some finances to purchase and acquire that item. And then really what you're hoping for is you hold on to it and it becomes rarer or it becomes older, that it appreciates in value. So you're not really getting any initial income. It's going to be an unrealized gain until you actually liquidate it. So what I mean by is you sell it or you trade it, and then whatever value it is at that time is considered your passive income. So these are just some other ideas for passive income opportunities that are not online. And there's others, and I'm sure you can probably think of some. But I just wanted to make sure that you understood that building or having a passive income doesn't have to come entirely from online. There's also offline opportunities as well. So the bottom line here, for me, passive income is not passive, right? So I know how much work and effort it took to get my courses together. It was a lot. I spent a lot of time on a computer. I spent a lot of time putting my curriculum together, testing things, having a sample group of students go through and try it out, finding out what worked best, finding out what didn't work so I could change my curriculum. I had to add things, delete some other things to try to make it one of the best courses I could. And so it didn't happen overnight. and it didn't happen by itself. It required me to do a lot of work up front. But now, because I've done all that work, it's a little bit easier for me now, because my course is out there done and completed, to just let it sit there and generate some income for me. So this is actually a pretty good example of a passive income. Hi, quick announcement. We're super excited about this new ebook titled 20 Ways to Make an Online Income. If you're stuck thinking about different ways that you can work from home, get this free ebook. It's real simple. All you do is visit teachucation.com/free ebook and we'll send it right out to you. You can also click a link in the description below. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button. And also, be sure to subscribe so you'll get access to all my videos. And then click on the bell icon so you'll get notified every time I release a new video with more tips, tricks, hints, and secrets. If you have a dream of working from home, make a plan, take action on that plan, and start living your dream. Hey, so I got a quick legal disclaimer here. The content that I'm sharing with you should not be construed as financial or legal advice. What I'm giving you is strictly for educational purposes only. So if you need to, please consult with a qualified professional regarding your specific situation. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's get down to the real content.